has 2 to 4 players gaining resources to expand their merchant empires. Gothic Games provided this in exchange for an honest review. Set out the double-sided board depending on player count. Keep the bits separated and nearby. Set up everything else based on the rulebook. There's a ton to prepare, so let's get right to the good stuff. All players receive the same set of components, although, going in player order, some will receive additional resources. In reverse player order, everyone takes one of the 4 Era 1 starting improvements. Improvements are tiles that help you generate more resources when you play ships, add endgame scoring bonuses, and so on. The game has 3 eras, with 3 rounds per era and multiple phases per round. Players take turns choosing a board location, camels go in circles, and ships go in rectangles. Some locations only have a single spot, so plan carefully. The Marauder phase is next. If a Marauder card was chosen the previous round, it is now placed in its designated space. All camels and ships in the chosen location are returned to their owners without activating. Then, if a player has a piece in the Marauder spot, they secretly choose a card that takes effect in the following round. Because of this, Marauders don't come out in the first round. Players next resolve locations and spaces. The handshake spaces can mostly be resolved simultaneously, although because these can be activated at any time, players may wish to wait to resolve other actions first. Activation order is one of the most important things in this game. Let's look at some of the spaces now. Most of the time, handshake spaces will give you resources. A few are special. You can immediately gain prestige points, or PP, or gain a camel or a ship if you fulfilled the location's requirements. There are market spaces where you can trade goods for others. Traded resources can't be traded more than once per round. You next resolve improvements. Each player with a piece here pays the required number of resources to acquire a new improvement tile. The construction phase, marked by a hammer and stick, lets you build things including your tower. Mark the level with blue cubes on your board. Towers earn points during the game and in endgame scoring. There is a space that will let you slightly damage an opponent's tower. There are 2 spaces that will allow you to build your temple, which is worth endgame PP. You may begin building a second once you've completed the first. There are 3 spaces where you may trade in a number of resources for rare goods tokens. You will score a number of PP at the end of the game depending on how many unique rare goods you acquire. King's Mission spaces allow you to draw a King's Mission card to your hand or spend resources to fulfill one of your King's Mission cards. Completed cards will score the endgame PP on the card. You can also trade in completed cards for the special reward on the card. Traded cards only earn half the indicated PP. Kingdom phase spaces have a money icon, and they resolve after construction. If the player with the highest tower has an improvement tile that awards PP, they gain those now. Next is tax. In eras 2 and 3, players that didn't visit the tax man must pay the indicated gold, or they lose the indicated PP. War supplies can be triggered by a camel or ship piece. The player here gains the PP of the difference in height between their tower and the shortest. Finally, the first play space earns you 1 wood or stone and makes you player 1 in the next round. At the end of the round, everyone discards down to 8 warehouse resources. Advance the turn indicator. If it reaches the end of the era, players gain 2 PP per built tower level. Replace all improvement tiles with the next eras, then start the next round. At the end of the 3rd era, players score their tower again, King's Mission cards, temple and rare goods, and improvement tiles that award endgame PP. The winner is the player with the highest score. Place camels and ships, gain resources to activate constructions, and build your empire. That's Tadmor. Once comfortable, 3 can play Tadmor in around 75 minutes, including setup and takedown. Learning games will be close to 2 hours. This isn't that big of a step over Everdell and the Pursuit of Happiness. I was surprised by this as well. Dining table. Enough said. In our fourth game of Tadmor, we were all trying yet another strategy. We wanted to see how many different ways you could be competitive. My dad won the first 3 games by focusing on mostly 2 things, with a bit of third here and there. This time, I avoided the temple, had the biggest tower, had some rare goods and completed King's Mission cards, but mostly focused on improvements that gave me lots of in-game and endgame bonuses. It wasn't by a huge amount, but I won. I don't often talk about inserts, but Tadmor's is excellent. It helps with a lot of setup and takedown, which is already quite a bit of work. The King's Mission cards have flavor text. It's appreciated and adds to the theme. Nice touch. I also like how they're multi-use. Fulfill them for points, trade completed ones for rewards, or discard them for a resource of your choice. This isn't exactly a point salad, but there are a lot of ways to score points during the game's phases and rounds, between rounds, and in the end game. Because of this, there are a lot of different strategies you can take. I love games with loads of choices, options, and decisions. There are some king-breaking options where you can stick it to the player with the tallest tower, you can block spaces to keep those with towers from scoring off you if you are avoiding towers, and you can send marauders to hit people hard if you can predict where they're going. In other words, this can be mean. I like that a lot. Colorblind people, or those with difficulty seeing in low light, might have issues. It's different tans and browns with some red and green. The stone icons have a slightly different color and shape from the pieces, and some of the white dividing lines are very hard to see. We didn't even see the one between build 1 or 2 tower blocks at first. Too bad, because the game board otherwise is easy to follow and clean. Tadmor will be crowded with 4 players. Scores will be lower because there will be more blocking, and it'll be meaner because people will want to keep those towers from getting too tall. I haven't played it with 4, but I really like it with 3 players. If you want a tactical worker placement game that rewards flexible players, yet still gives you long-term strategies, Tadmor is a really good choice. Just remember that it can be mean, although you can house rule out the nasty marauder and traitor actions.